Now, being the host of this show, I'm no stranger to being asked who would win in a fight between two fictional characters. And as soon as this scene was released, you can bet that requests for the subject went through the roof. But here's the thing, Thor and the Hulk have fought before. Yeah, unlike most fight requests I get that require speculation and calculations on a character's limits, Thor and the Hulk have thrown down frequently enough that we don't have to guess what would happen if they fought, we can just look it up. So I thought, that might make a pretty cool video. I did something similar on Batman and Superman a while ago. All I have to do is read through 1,000 different comics and find every time they've ever fought. There's only one problem. They've fought 67 different times. Obviously, that's too many fights for me to discuss thoroughly in one video, so here's what we're gonna do instead. I'm going to give you a rundown of every Thor vs. Hulk fight that's ever happened in canon, complete with this nifty scoreboard. And then, at the end of the video, instead of explaining all the non-canon fights, I'm just going to show them briefly and adjust the scoreboard appropriately. Every Thor vs. Hulk fight ever. Thor and the Hulk's first fight took place in the Avengers #3. Hulk ties Thor up with a steel cable, Thor warns him that he'll get out of it in no time, but the Hulk literally leaves on a train before he can, getting the heck out of Dodge. They meet up again later in the issue, and the Hulk has Namor help him manhandle Thor's hammer away from him. Thor breaks out of the grip, but the fight ends when the Hulk unexpectedly reverts back into Bruce Banner. Fantastic Four 26. Honestly, I don't know if I should even count this one. The Hulk does mention that Thor's hammer is one of the few things he fears, and that's pretty interesting, but other than that, Thor basically just tries to hit the Hulk a few times while he's running away. The Incredible Hulk 227. This one's pretty brutal because the Hulk straight up crushes Mjolnir with one hand and tosses Thor away like a ragdoll, but the whole thing was just a dream, so it doesn't count.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine.
Thor 385. Thor seems to pretty much control this fight for at least the first half of the story. He hits the Hulk twice as many times as the Hulk hits him, and he even pretty much has him down in this one scene. But if you don't believe me, then believe the Hulk, who gets really upset about Thor's hammer and claims that it's what's giving him the edge. He even straight up threatens to kill a woman to make Thor get rid of it. Thor does, and the fight seems a lot closer afterwards. The hammer returns to Thor involuntarily after a few minutes, and the Hulk kind of admits that he's afraid to fight Thor when he has that thing. Thor offers to throw the hammer again and continue their brawl barehanded, but Hulk pretty much checks out. Thor's advantage with the hammer is pretty firmly established here, and without it his power is a little ambiguous, either being less than or equal to that of the Hulk. Either way, point for Thor. The Incredible Hulk, Ghost of the Future. So this is a weird one. Some of you might be familiar with the Future Imperfect storyline, in which a future version of the Hulk called Maestro became so powerful he conquered the world. And no, we aren't covering that one on the list, by the way, because if you read through the story, it's revealed that Thor actually died in a massive war before the Hulk took over, and they never fought in that time. Savage Hulk, the strongest one there is. This is a short story that showcases the Hulk defeating a practical army of enemies, including Thor, but it's revealed to be a dream Dr. Strange put him in to help him let out his aggression.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine.
Savage Hulk, Vision Quest. This is a pretty short fight. Thor clearly doesn't actually want to battle the Hulk, but Hulk throws some punches and boulders at him anyway. Thor knocks him off a cliff by destroying the cliff, and Iron Man flies in to break things up. Apparently Thor had compared the Hulk's hair to broccoli, but really, can you blame him? Here, the Avengers, Let No Man Tear Asunder. This one starts off with the Hulk taking the advantage. He knocks Thor on his butt and tries to get his hammer away. Then Thor presses his advantage, seeming to down the Hulk with a powerful thunder strike. But in the end, it is the Hulk who stands victorious over a limp, unconscious Thor. But it was later revealed that this Thor was a fake, and so was the one from the last round. The Incredible Hulk Annual, 2001. Hulk and Thor trade a few blows before Thor decides the Earth is too breakable and takes their fight to another universe, where the Hulk throws him into a mountain. Thor climbs out of the rubble and resumes their fight, but then it turns out this dimension is breakable too, and Thor doesn't like causing wildfires. Hulk decides to lunge at Thor while his back is turned, but Thor soundly knocks him out with a thunder strike and prepares to carry an unconscious Hulk back home. Psych, the Hulk wakes up during their return trip and breaks out of Thor's grip, hurtling himself toward a planet with atmosphere that knocks him out again and turns him back into Bruce Banner. Thor decides to try this again, but Hulk wakes up again, sucker punches Thor to the ground, and beats him into the floor. Hulk walks away the victor of this one. Or not, because Thor isn't out, he's just dazed. He gets back up and washes the Hulk away with a flood. I mean, he eventually gets out, but he also basically just runs off at that point. Guys, this one has to go to Thor. He was practically controlling the fight all the way through, even taking the time to carry Hulk to other dimensions and put out fires. Heck, he even straight up knocks him out for a little while. The only time the Hulk definitively gets the upper hand is when he sucker punches Thor and takes him by surprise. And even then, he gets right back up. Dropping a mountain on Thor barely slowed him down. The mighty Thor, the betrayed. Alright, so Thor's taken over the world and merged Asgard's culture, science, traditions, and people with those of Earth. Several big-name heroes aren't a fan of this, so they decide to team up and take the fight to Thor. But he creams all of them. There's this brief moment when Doctor Strange strips Thor of the Odin Force, making him temporarily vulnerable and allowing Hulk and the Thing to take some shots at him, but he kills both of them. Don't worry, by the end of the story, Thor learns the error of his ways and rewinds time so none of this ever happened. So I guess, in a way, he didn't kill the Hulk? Whatever, I'm giving this one to Thor. Onslaught Reborn, numbers 2 and 3. This one is actually the same fight split up between two different issues. Onslaught has taken over Thor's body and decides he has to kill the Hulk to cement his reign. He knocks the big green guy around a little bit and nearly fries him with a thunder strike, but before he can deal the finishing blow, he suddenly realizes he can no longer lift the hammer. While he's distracted, the Hulk gets a second wind, and Onslaught jumps into his body before he can smash Thor into the ground. Then he picks up what I would imagine is a very confused Thor and literally punches him to the moon. The Hulk definitely wins this one. Or at least he would have if this didn't turn out to be that fake Thor again. Thor, Hammer and Sinew. Okay, this one's really brief, but in this story, Thor and one of his Asgardian buddies briefly discuss a recent unseen battle in which Thor apparently lost his cool and nearly killed the Hulk. That's all the information we get. But yeah, the Hulk looks totally wrecked here. Fear itself, number 5. The Hulk and the Thing have been possessed by a couple of Asgardian gods who have a real problem with Thor, making both characters more powerful than ever before. Thor takes care of the Thing quickly enough, but he goes a few rounds with the Hulk before we get this scene. I cannot beat you, you know, and I never could. I knew. Did you now? Guys, I'm pretty sure he was bluffing. Hulk Smash Avengers by Banner Betrayed. The Avengers track down the Hulk after he's been running amok for a while, and Thor's among the group of heroes who dogpile on him and hold him still until Tony Stark can bring in some special restraints. Unfortunately, the Hulk manages to distract everybody long enough for him to break free, and he jumps off, giving us another inconclusive match. 9. In this issue, there's a great segment where Maestro re-emerges. You know, the evil Hulk from the future. He pounds every last one of the heroes to a pulp, including Thor. But it all turned out to be a dream. Avengers. Only dirt, 6 feet deep. So in this fight, an alternate reality Hulk shows up and starts a fight with the regular Avengers. He gets a pretty good hit on Thor before Thor jumps in to give him some well-deserved payback, but AIM is watching from a distance and captures everybody in temporal shielding. Which officially accounts for every last Thor vs. Hulk fight in canon that I know about. Here are my basic thoughts on the matter. Regardless of which hero you like the most, on paper, Thor should honestly be taking pretty much all of these. He's much faster than the Hulk. He's usually smarter than the Hulk. And that hammer is basically a nigh unbreakable Swiss Army knife of magic. I mean, here's a list of just some of the things that we've seen Mjolnir do. If you don't think any of that is capable of putting the Hulk down, well, you're entitled to your own opinion, but we've seen him fall to some of it before. The only place where I personally think you could kind of argue that Thor and the Hulk equal out on is strength. They're both occasionally treated as Marvel's big tank, who can take down anybody in a brawling contest. But even in that stat, Thor has proven himself superior a few times.